Hi guys, I'm here to talk about a democratic socialist government from a historical perspective. It's something that has greatly interested me given current and recent political events in America and the recent presidential election. I've done a lot of research over the past few weeks, and what I have found is that the majority of our founding fathers in America actually favored a socialistic approach to government. Our country was founded on a lot of tenets and beliefs of ancient Greek and Roman democracies, and historically, these were actually on the socialist side of the government spectrum and were exceptionally prosperous and successful, and are prominent governments that stand out in our world history and that are most studied and sought after. The thing is, a lot of people will say, the ancient Roman Empire fell and things like that. And, the reason for that is not their approach to government. The reason for their economic collapse is not because of the way they structured their economic system. What happened was all these invaders and wars that they were having problems with. It's just like a world war today. Any country that participates in it is probably going to suffer from economic collapse over the next few years. So really that has nothing to do with it at all. And I would also like to say that another argument is when people say, we can't have a socialistic government here because communism didn't work in places like Russia and China, Vietnam, Korea. Socialism and communism are not the same thing. Socialism can lead to communism, yes, but they are not equal, or mutually exclusive, or anything like that. They say that socialism is the little brother of communism, and that is true. But just because something's a little brother doesn't mean it's going to grow up to be the same thing. I mean, say hypothetically Ted Bundy or Jeffrey Dahmer had a little brother. That doesn't mean that this little brother is going to grow up to be the same as them. That's just common sense. Another reason that Russia and China and all those countries' reign of communism had such a disastrous and consequential impact on world history is because all of those countries, if you think about it, transitioned from a royal monarchy / hierarchy to communism through a series of violent revolutions. And any way you dice that up, a transition from one monarchy of authoritarian rule to another type of authoritarian rule is going to be pretty disastrous. And mix in a violent revolution in between, which is, obviously going to ruin your financial systems and the welfare of your people. That's just not a good solution either way. The thing about America converting to a more socialistic society is that we would not be transitioning from a monarchy to socialism. See, we already converted from monarchy a couple hundred years ago, which in the history of the world altogether, when you look at other older, more established empires, is still pretty recent. But there was another stage in between, and that's democracy. In my opinion, American democracy these days is not really democracy anymore. we're actually closer to a fascist approach to things, even before Donald Trump was elected. But, we can make it work. The thing is, we had another transition in between, so we wouldn't be directly transitioning. And that definitely helps with a lot. And the fact that our financial and legislative systems were based on other systems that existed for so long, and that those systems didn't actually cause the ruin of those empires, really helps our case a lot. So, this video is getting a bit longer than I expected it to be, but my main point here is that socialism is not inherently dangerous, and it's not inherently something that we as Americans cannot pursue. Again, I just want to restate that the majority of our founding fathers favored this democratic and socialist approach to government and actually combined the two tenets of these together. My last thing I want to bring up that I just actually thought of, you can totally look this up if you choose not to believe me, but our longest serving president, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, was a self-described democratic socialist, much like Bernie Sanders. They did not have a term limit at the time that he was elected. You may know now that our term limit is 2 consecutive terms that you can serve as president. They didn't have that when Roosevelt was president, and he was so popular by the people electorally and by the popular vote that he got elected into office 4 times, and they were forced to enact a term limit just so someone else would have a turn. And yeah, that was right after, in between the world wars and during the Great Depression. But I think it's really something to think about that a democratic socialist, who people usually describe as, being someone who would ruin our government or something like that, is someone who actually helped us transition and lift our way out of a great, huge economic deficit that we had dug ourselves into. And yeah, we're still recovering from that, but we're going to be recovering from that. So yeah, my point is, socialism is not bad. A lot of tenets of it are actually what this country was founded on. So yeah, just think about that.